to the Point of Impact podcast with Rick McDaniel. Thanks for joining us today. Get ready to be inspired and motivated to live a high-impact life. Now, here's Rick.
Welcome to the Point of Impact podcast. I'm Rick McDaniel. It's great to have you joining with us today. And today is actually the final episode of season 6. And we're excited to bring this season to a conclusion. Looking forward to next season already. Lots of good stuff. But we've got a lot to cover today and I want to share with you. And I originally planned on ending this season with a success episode, but I've been sitting on something about some modern addictions that I think are really messing up people's lives. Maybe yours, probably. So we're going to do something called 8 Hidden Addictions Ruining Your Life. And look at some of these modern addictions that maybe silently are really limiting you from reaching your full potential. And we don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. So this is going to be an eye-opener and one you'll be able to chew on all summer long and figure out what you can do to rid yourself of these addictions that are messing up your life in so many ways. But before we get into that, since this is my last opportunity to talk with you before we take our season break, our summer break, I want to just cover several things that I think are really important. So first of all, I've been talking about the website update, redo, whatever you want to call it, and it's taken longer. But I'm going to just say, to be on the safe side, if you will check out rickmcdaniel.com after July, once July comes, you should see a completely new, updated website. Very helpful, very intuitive, all kinds of information, all kinds of ways to contact us, all kinds of ways to take advantage of all the many different resources that we offer. So I can't wait for you to see that. Can't wait to see it myself. But it's coming, but it's taken a little bit longer. But definitely after July, after June and into July, just a few more weeks here, hopefully. Let's take advantage, take advantage of that. Take a look at it really, maybe while you're on vacation or on a weekend trip or something, a little bit of time sitting at the beach or a lake or wherever you might be, and just kind of open it up and go through it. I think you'll find it really helpful. Second thing I mentioned last week was my LinkedIn and how I've completely redone that. That is done, by the way. And it's really helpful to learn a lot about the different things that are offered. And I decided to make it simpler. Some people were like, well, you said LinkedIn, but how many Rick McDaniels are there? So this is really great. You can just type in linkedin.com and then all of them then have a /in, I-N, and then a /. And then after that /, all you have to type in is Rick-McDaniel-HIL, which stands for High Impact Living, the organization I lead. So no more numbers and, different letters and all that. Just linkedin.com /in /Rick-McDaniel HIL, and you'll be able to go right to the LinkedIn page, and there you can just again find out all kinds of information and background. And some of you are newer listeners and you don't necessarily know my whole story, and you can, and very compact. I mean, it's really very great because you just briefly and boom, it's like highlights. Here's the highlight reel. Bam, 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 and you're done. So that's another one. Just want to mention that. The third thing is, last week I talked about inspirational leadership, told you about the book that's coming out. So that book, Maverick Leadership, is now out for pre-order. It's not out yet, but you can pre-order it and you can go check it out, see the cover, check it out on Amazon. And I would encourage you to pre-order because, as I've said before with all my books, that you always get it earlier if you pre-order. You get it before everyone else. You'll get it most all the time before the book's even officially released for anybody else to get it. So again, this is not just a book written by me. I'm one of the contributors of a number of people who together with phenomenal backgrounds in the military and in business and in ministry have come together to provide all these outstanding chapters on leadership. And man, that's just something that if you are anywhere in your life, you function as a leader. And believe me, you may be more of a leader than you actually realize that you are. You may think, I'm not a leader, but I'm telling you, you don't have to have a title to be a leader. You don't have to have people report to you. Maybe you've never thought of yourself as a leader, but, if you're encouraging someone, if you are lending a hand in some way, bringing help and assistance, if you're lifting someone up, if you are helping a friend through a challenging situation, all of these things qualifies leadership. And if you're a high schooler helping a middle schooler, if you're a 20-something helping a college student, if you're a homemaker helping your children, you're a leader. If you're impacting another life, you're a leader. So don't limit it to just titles that you think are the only way to understand leadership. And inspirational leadership is so desperately needed. It's the key. It's the key to a positive culture and to making families, teams, churches, businesses, departments, corporations, government, all much, much, much better when being led by inspiring leaders. So that book out. All right. And then one more thing, very much a part of this podcast, is that we have decided to start posting episodes of the Point of Impact podcast on YouTube. So be looking for that this summer. There may be as many as 50 that ultimately get released and get put on my YouTube page. So the Rick McDaniel YouTube page, there may be some other folks that have my name, but mine would be the most prominent channel for sure. So just go to YouTube, type in Rick McDaniel. You'll see my page come up, and a lot of great previous episodes will now be available on YouTube, and you can listen to them on YouTube. So that's going to happen starting pretty quick and throughout the summer. So even though we are on summer break, we will still be posting, actually. Again, not new content, but previous content, but in a new form or new format through YouTube, which you may be using. And you may wonder, people have been wondering, and obviously we're responding to it. And going forward, we will be posting all the time now on YouTube. When season 7 starts, it will be posted on YouTube, just like it is on Spotify and Apple and iHeart and Amazon and on and all the other podcasts. And the final thing I will say, without saying a decision's been made, but we are looking into whether to make this a vidcast, not just a podcast. If we do that, obviously, then that will be on YouTube. It won't just be the audio, it'll be the video. Not ready to commit to that yet. Got more work, discussions, and research to do. But if we decide to go in that direction, then for sure we'll be on YouTube. But even if we don't, the audio will be there. And regardless, that wouldn't start until September. And right now, this summer, you'll be able to start accessing previous episodes on YouTube. So lots of good stuff to take advantage of. And the final thing I will say is make sure you take a vacation. I did an entire episode on this before. If you need to listen to that to hear all the reasons why, but you need to take a break. You need rest. You need rejuvenation. You need relaxation. You will be better for it by taking a vacation. Do not go this year without taking a vacation. Find a way to do it. You say, well, the finances or the timing or whatever it is. Where there's a will, there's a way. We make time for the things that matter. And maybe you got to cut back. And I talked a few episodes ago about 10 ways to save money. And I was saying you could implement these to free up some money so you could take a vacation. Go back and listen to that episode if you haven't heard it. And let's find ways to save money so you can take a vacation and you can experience that and have a great summer and then we'll see you back here in September. But before we do that, we've got one last episode, and it is a doozy. 8 hidden addictions ruining your life. These aren't just bad habits. It's more than that. They're addictions. They're modern addictions. And the really dangerous thing about them, the reason they're hidden, they're secret, is because you can feel completely normal. But what you don't realize is they're crushing, they're ruining your life. They're not helping you at all, and you're definitely not going to reach your full potential. So you may say, what are you talking about, Rick? Well, here we go. Dopamine dependency. Number 1, constant device checking has literally rewired your brain for distraction. You can't sustain focus on deep work without digital interruption. You have become dependent. You are addicted to the dopamine push. And that can't happen. You can't let that happen. Some of you are young enough that you've never known life without a phone in your hand and the constant checking. But some of you know that there was a time not that long ago when you did not have a phone in your hand at all times. That you weren't constantly checking. I mean, go into a restaurant, look around at a family. Look at how people, it's just constant. And if you don't believe me, then I don't know about Android, but certainly Apple, they'll tell you every week. They'll tell you how much time you spent on your phone. And it should shock you to no end to realize the amount of time. And some of you are doing what my wife does that drives me crazy. You're watching TV and on your phone simultaneously. You literally have mastered distraction when life is all about focus. Success is about focus. Distraction is the enemy of success. Deep work, deep thinking, creative thoughts, that's where it all comes from. If you simply stay on this surface level, you're ruining your life. I'm sorry, I just have to say it that bluntly. Your potential will never be reached. It just won't. You've got to break free of this dependency, this dopamine rush that you get by constantly looking and constantly updating yourself. And it's no good, friends. It's no good. And, you're watching the animal videos and then you're shifting over to the fitness stuff, and then you're shifting over to the fashion stuff, and then you're looking at the political stuff, and then you're looking at sports stuff. And you're rewiring your brain for distraction. I said it, and that's the truth. You will not be able to sustain focus. You've got to break your addiction with these screens and these devices. All right, let's stay with the screen thing. Television time. Second modern hidden addiction. Massive amounts of time are spent watching an almost unlimited supply of TV programs. The streaming services have just completely blown this whole thing up. Now, I've talked about this before, but you haven't heard me say it, but I never had any streaming services at all until the pandemic came. I heard people talk about Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu and some of those. Of course, some of the streaming services are so new. I think things like Paramount Plus and what else? I think there's others that are newer, and even maybe HBO Max. It used to be just regular old HBO. The point is that I wasn't even aware of it, and then I became aware of it, and it's just been a mind blower to me to see this explosion of content, and so an explosion of options. And I would hear people talk about binge watching. I had literally, if you said, say 5 years ago, I had no idea what that was. I heard people talk about it. I'd never done it. And now I understand exactly what it is. You get a show that has 8 or 10 episodes and you get into it and you just want to keep watching it. And these are, things like you end up staying up way later than you should, messing up your sleep. You're no good the next day because you couldn't turn the thing off. Not to mention, even if you don't do the binging, the amount of hours you're spending. I mean, this time should be spent pursuing your dreams, learning new things, growing, developing, living life, experiencing life, getting outside where the sunshine and vitamin D is, where the fresh air is, where the beauty is, and you're missing all of it because you're plopped behind this television screen or iPad or tablet, or, I'm on planes a lot. I just was on a plane, the amount of people, they're watching on their phone. They're watching on their tablets. They're not even watching on the screen on the plane, although there are screens. By the way, the last plane I took was absolutely hilarious. It was like taking a step back in time. In fact, the pilot had to come on and say, this plane's going in for a total redo. The screens were like half the size of the normal screens that you find on planes today. I mean, this plane was so old. The front galley area didn't even have a correct galley. It was wild. My wife's like, what is going? Before the pilot even came out, she goes, what kind of plane is this? It was wild. But the point is, you gotta break it. You gotta break free of it. You're missing out on life. You're not going to reach your full potential. It's ruining your life because you're not learning things and experience. I watch documentaries. Yeah, well, you can read. You don't have to watch. And again, get out and live life and experience it. And especially this summer when we have the beautiful weather. Even the toughest places, Minnesota, Maine, these places are beautiful in the summer. They're brutal in the winter, but in the summer, there's lakes. And I mean, Maine, I couldn't say enough nice things about Maine in the summer. So all these cold places, Canada, they're great. And then all the normal, four-season type places, please break it this summer, and then don't go back to it. Keep it broken. Break free of it. Break free of this addiction. All right, here's another one. Switching gears now, validation seeking. Now, watch the connection, though, between this still into the same world that we're in now. You measure your worth by likes, comments, external approval. Your day is made or ruined by how many likes you got from a particular post. That is not how you want to be living your life. Your decisions end up prioritizing perception over purpose, your life purpose, your authentic purpose. You don't want to do that. You do not want to be beholden to people's external validation that comes from things like their comments or their likes. I mean, just think about it like this. Before all this social media stuff existed, no one knew all these things about you if you're old enough for that. Now they do. So that's great. You can share your life and share your stories, your pictures, and that's marvelous. Leave it there. It doesn't matter about the likes or the comments. The fact that you can now share your life with people in a way you never could do previously. This is why so many older people love Facebook, because they're old enough to remember when they had to, write letters and Christmas cards and go to a store and print out photos and make extra copies and put them in the mail and send them to people. Some of you are laughing right now. That's literally how it used to be done. To just share with people, show them, or once you visit with them and you show them your stuff. Don't have to do that anymore because we have social media. But don't let these things like how many people like it or what they comment or any kind of external approval be be the lens through which you perceive the value of your life or the impact that you're having and the purpose that you have. Please, 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 please don't do that. All right, here's another one, negative self-talk. This one's been around a lot longer than these newer ones I'm talking about right now. It's old, and it's bad, always has been, always will be. Every thought you think, every conscious or unconscious thought you say to yourself is translated into electrical impulses in your brain. That is a neuroscience fact. All right, now listen, I got another fact for you. You can reprogram your mind. You can rewire your thinking. Yes, you can erase old, negative, counterproductive, work against you thinking, programming, and replace it with healthy, new, positive, productive kind of thinking, programming. It can be done. Get rid of the negative self-talk. Your negative inner critic that narrates your life, gotta go. And I talk about this all the time. I'll say it again. Don't listen to yourself. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. With self-talk, we have a way to give new directions to our subconscious mind by talking to ourselves in a different way, by consciously reprogramming our internal control center with words and statements that are more helpful, more effective. Yes, can be done. You realize that you probably say things to listen to yourself in words that you would just never tolerate from other people. You wouldn't. You would not let other people, say these things. You wouldn't listen to that. And yet you listen to this kind of stuff yourself. I mean, it's an addiction that has got to be broken in your life. And the great news is that it can. Again, I talked about this when I was talking about these, reasons why we're not pursuing our dreams, because we automatically believe the worst first and the best last. Can't happen, friends. Gotta get rid of it. All right, here's another, perfection paralysis. You're delaying action until conditions seem ideal. And here's the truth. Waiting until everything's perfect is the number one killer of momentum. I know what you're thinking. It feels safer to wait, to plan, to tweak, to wait some more. But successful people, this is basically what it is. They launch at about 70% ready, and then they learn fast and they adapt. If you wait for perfect, you're never going to start. Some of you are like, well, we're going to wait and then we're going to start a family. No, that's not how it works. Because you're never going to have enough money, never be ready enough, never be mature enough. You just have to go for it. To start in the business, it's never going to be perfect. If you start now, you can get real world feedback and you can make smarter moves quicker. That's just it. You edit and revise excessively. That's what you're doing. Excessively, addictively. Instead of simply saying, it's not, ready, aim, fire, It's ready, fire, aim. You just got to do it. You just have to do it. Fire, ship, move, do, and then improve. Here's basic math. One person launches one project a year, waits for it to be perfect, and succeeds 80% of the time. The second person launches 4 projects a year at 70% readiness, and they have a 60% success rate, not an 80%. In 3 years, the first person has 2.4 successful projects. In 3 years, the second person has 7.2 successful projects. Which one do you want to be? What project have you been delaying? Take action. Don't wait for perfection. It's crushing your life. It's ruining your life. All right, here's another one. Certainty comfort. Man, I'm living this right now. So this is really, I'm dealing with something that is pushing me in such an uncomfortable place. And I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. In order to get where I want to get to, I have to. So you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Certainty comfort is we avoid situations where outcomes aren't guaranteed or close to being guaranteed. You mistake comfort for security. There it is. They're not the same thing. In fact, you may have to be uncomfortable in order to get security. Growth requires uncertainty. Growth requires uncertainty. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is it, friends. This is it in a nutshell. I mean, it's just, I just can't say it any more clearly than that. You've got to stop with this certainty. I'm not comfortable. I'm not positive. I'm not sure. Everything's not, it's not right yet. I want to be secure. No, that's not how you want to live your life. It's holding you back. All right, here's almost like sort of weirdly on the flip side, but hear me out. Busyness belief. So this looks like we fill every moment with activity. Why? To avoid meaningful reflection. The unexamined life is not worth living, right? That's what Thoreau said a long time ago, having pondered and reflected and walled and pond many years, many hours. We want to just do. And then that leaves us with a lack of reflection on why we're doing what we're doing. And if what we're doing is really valuable, if it's really making a difference and making an impact. You mistake activity for progress. Just like you mistake comfort for security, you're mistaking activity for progress while avoiding the deeper purpose questions. Oh man, it's powerful stuff. If you can hear it and receive it and ponder it, take some time to reflect on that. Activity is not the same thing as progress. Are you really reflecting? All right, here's one more. Comparison compulsion. You measure your progress against others rather than against your previous self. In other words, instead of look how far I've come from what I once was, you, again, going back to all this media, social screens, media, all that stuff, just allows you to see things you never would have seen before. You used to have to read about it in a magazine that came out every 2 months. Now it's there every day, every 2 hours. Your achievements feel hollow when you view them through the comparative lens. This kind of comparison steals your joy and feeds your insecurity. You look at others and wonder if you're good enough. It saps your motivation and kills your creativity. Anything good there? No. Now listen, positive comparison can lead to growth. When you see someone doing something meaningful, impactful, and you say, I want to do that too, or I want to learn from that. That's good. But you have to look at how, pay attention, your comparison, like, is it inspiring you to grow, or is it leading you to envy and even judging? Wow. This stuff, it's the reason why I chose it, because I want you to just ponder this and really consider this all summer long. These are hidden, modern, secret addictions, and they are crushing and ruining your potential and ultimately your life. And you've got to break free from them. And I know that you can. You can. There's not one we talked about today that there isn't answers and strategies that you can employ so you can break free of it and live your best life. Hey, have a great summer. I'll see you back in September for season 7.
You've been listening to the Point of Impact podcast with Rick McDaniel. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to you joining us for our next episode.